well-deserved moment of silence pregame for the victims, those still suffering from the after effects of Hurricane Helene that has devastated so much of this part of North Carolina. Armand, let's get back to your keys to the game before we have kickoff.
All right, North Carolina keys to the game. We have 3 of them here tonight. We start with take something away. You've got to take something away from this Crest team. Quarterback Turner McSwain is a good one. Had 3 touchdowns a couple of weeks ago in a Crest win. Got to take something away. They're so balanced offensively with the run and the pass. Got to take something away from this Crest offense. Number 2, win up front, as Corey mentioned. Going to be a lot of running in this game. South Point runs that triple option. Crest is a balanced offense. We will see who wins up front. South Point a bit undersized, but they do scrap up front. And thirdly, don't fall for it. What are we talking about? You've got to be disciplined anytime you're playing the game of football, but especially when you're playing against an option attack or when you're playing against a balanced attack that Crest has. A lot of pre-snap window dressing and disguising of what the defenses could see. Both these teams are going to have to be gap sound and have integrity, especially defensively, in this contest here tonight. Okay, our keys to the game tonight presented by Ortho Carolina. Thank you, Armand. And again, as we get ever closer to kickoff, we're pretty much right at the bottom of the hour, just a minute past. That kind of goes back to some of the keys you were just mentioning. Everyone knows at this point the DNA of South Point with the triple option, with everything they can do in the running game. It's been said earlier this week, especially in the Charlotte area, and for people that know this South Point team, it's a team that kind of builds up their running yardage in small little pieces, maybe a 2-yard run, a 3-yard run, a 4-yard run. By the time you get to the end of the night, sometimes you can have hundreds of yards for the South Point team on the ground. We kind of know that. Meanwhile, for Crest, you look at the stats. I mean, the stats, again, like the saying goes, they really don't lie sometimes. Here's the thing. You look at Michael Edwards, especially for Crest. He's had a strong season so far, receiving the football, 17 catches, 261 yards. And, of course, for McSwain, he's already got 283 through the air along with 3 touchdowns. So might be a battle of the air and the ground in this one tonight, because South Point, a team, they're not going to put a lot of air under the football very often, of course, only when that's necessary following that RPO and, of course, the triple option. So once again, we mentioned all the points from last season, and now we get a rematch between these 2 teams that just seem to meet all the time. Of course, Adam Hodge, the head coach here at South Point in his 8th year. He's almost 40, 38 years old. He said to us a couple days ago, Armand, on our weekly Zoom, he said, we're trying to get better, want to run the option, take care of the football, and trying to be perfect, but of course he knows how difficult that is. And of course Patrick Blee, I know we are talking about McSwain for Crest, but how about Patrick Blee, a quarterback to watch tonight, especially so, Armand, about Blee, because he's the trigger man extraordinaire, especially when it comes to running the triple option. Even as Adam Hodge said to us yesterday on Zoom, he knows when to pull it, he knows when to pitch it, he knows when to keep it, he has to read the defense. So much of this offense for South Point is so reliant on what Patrick Blee can do. You're right, and really both teams have athletic quarterbacks. Don't be surprised if we see a lot of running from the quarterbacks, even when you talk about Crest. They have a lot of confidence in Turner McSwain as a dual-threat quarterback. It was something that South Point head coach Adam Hodge was concerned about, McSwain's ability not just to see what's downfield, but to take off with his legs and make things happen on the ground. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. We're going to be watching 2 quarterbacks tonight that really couldn't have more different stat lines coming in. Granted, I'm sure there's been bigger differences before in terms of yardage, but you look at Turner McSwain, 22 completions on 32 attempts so far this season, 283 yards and 3 touchdowns. Meanwhile, for Blee, he's completed just 4 passes on the season. Granted, each of these teams lost a game last week due to Hurricane Helene, but he's completed 4 passes on 8 attempts, 63 yards and a touchdown. So we all know it's going to come on the ground because Blee already has 18 carries, 200 yards on the season, and 4 rushing touchdowns. But this matchup, these 2 teams certainly know about a lot about each other, that's for certain. South Point has got to get off to a fast start. They've been successful this season because they've been able to do that, just like they did in their last home game versus High Brighton. They have been cruising past their opponents so far this season, and it's because they've been able to get off to fast starts. Well, Crest will receive the football.
Gavin Gibson kicks it away, fielded at the 32-yard line, and quickly tackled there. Hampton Boykins on the return. And Boykins stopped rather quickly, maybe a gain of only a yard. In fact, they pretty much mark it where it was, and 4 seconds in, we'll see Crest's offense for the first time tonight as we are off and away on this Friday night from Belmont, North Carolina. Boykins helmet off, heading off to the far sideline.
Looks like they caught Crest off guard there with a little pop-up kick. And Boykins could only muster up about 2 yards on the return.
Mark it at the 34-yard line. That's where the offense for Crest will start tonight, unbeaten coming into this football game. Play fake, quick hitter to Brock Melton, and Melton to the 50 and just past midfield on a gain of almost 20. Mark it 18 yards that time for Melton on the quick hitter by Turner McSwain.
Quick hitter is right. Such a good way to get your offense going. Get that thing out to Melton, just 5'11", but showing a little speed that time in the open field, and that's going to be key for Crest. Sometimes they're going to set up the run game through the pass game tonight. Good start for them.
Gain of 18 that time on the catch by Melton. Here's McSwain, hands the football off to Aiden Carson, and Carson finding a lot of running room. Carson still up, he's inside the 30-yard line, trying to reach towards the 25 and close to it on the second big chunk play of this game for Crest.
Aiden Carson is a dangerous back, and you see Crest is moving with some pace, sort of a quasi-huddle as they get the play, but they are moving at a great pace, and they're getting good push up front at this offensive line level, and it's going to cause South Point some problems. This is a Crest team, as we talked about, balanced offensively. They hit you with the run game and the pass game.
First one was a gain of 18, that one a gain of 23 as it's down to the 25-yard line. Back-to-back first down pickups. McSwain will keep the football, trying to pick his way through. He's inside the 20-yard line. South Point brings him back. It'll set up second down as we see the first carry of the night for the senior QB, 5'10", 160, Turner McSwain.
And don't be surprised if we see a whole lot more of that from McSwain. He is a dangerous runner, not just as a thrower. He is a dangerous runner, and even South Point head coach Adam Hodge talked about they run those design quarterback draws and quarterback counter plays. They do it for a reason, because he's good at it.
McSwain, 11 carries coming into this game. He has rushed for a touchdown this season. That one picked up 7 yards. It's 2nd and 3 from the 18-yard line. Carson will get it again. Here goes Carson, and he's going to go in untouched from 18 yards out for the touchdown. It takes Crest less than 5 plays to get into the end zone for the first time tonight, as Carson has his 7th rushing touchdown of the season, came in with 200 yards on the ground, and makes a statement early on.
Well, we said somebody had to win up front, and on that drive, without question, the Crest Chargers won up front. A dominant drive to start this game and get the first 6 points.
Extra point coming. This is Nick Sanchez. Sanchez, his extra point is no good. 6 points, all that Crest will get. It was an efficient drive up until that for Sanchez, the senior kicker. So it was almost a perfect start to this game for Crest, but until that.
So we talked the keys to the game. I tell you, they showed up right away.
Yeah.
The dominance of Crest up front, especially on the right side of that offensive line. When you have that kind of confidence up front, and then you've got an athletic quarterback like Turner McSwain who can turn things loose, it is paramount for South Point to get those stops.
If you're looking for reliable car care here in your neighborhood, your local AAA Car Care, they offer a full range of car maintenance and repair services, and it's open to both AAA members and non-members. Just like me, I'm a member too. Visit AAA.com/CarCareTouchdown. That's AAA.com/CarCareTouchdown for a location near you.
Not quite the way South Point wanted to start homecoming, right?
Not really.
A lot of fanfare before the game, too. They did a wonderful job with introducing the homecoming court, and Chris says To heck with that.
It was about 15 strong, that homecoming court. I was getting ready to think at any moment they were going to announce our names too. Armand Brody, Corey Hodges, like Bob Barker. Come on down. Okay, it's 6-0 Crest, 10:27 to go in this first quarter. Nice to have you with us tonight. We're almost 10 minutes past the bottom of the hour here in Belmont, North Carolina tonight as the Red Raiders and the Chargers go at it again after that scoring fest from 2023. Well, Sanchez, what do they say right here? When you miss the extra point, you put a little bit more boot into that kickoff. See if Sanchez takes out some of the frustration on the football. This one, though, is a kind of a corkscrew one, and it causes a little trouble initially for South Point, backed up around the 20-yard line. Now finding and picking some space is Chris Stowe, and Stowe's kind of held around that 20-yard line. I think the corkscrew kind of made it tough for Stowe. He had to double back, and he was fortunate to get back to where he started.
We had a pop-up on the first kickoff, and then we get a corkscrew on this kickoff. Special teams showing up a bit here early in this game.
You know, for Sanchez, you know, he's had 12 kickoffs this season, almost 470 kickoff yards coming in. His long kickoff is 45 yards, so it's just kind of, you know, one more little thing to think about. Here's South Point for the first time tonight, 1st and 10 from the 21-yard line. It's about where Stowe had it to start. Patrick Blee keeps Blee, again, on that option. He's ready to pull it, and he keeps it himself for a gain of maybe about a yard that time. 2nd down.
Well, we talked about that triple option and how important it is to be disciplined defensively. In that time, I don't know if there was some miscommunication because there seemed to be too much congestion and too much traffic in there, and those option plays are all about timing. Crest blew it up well to start.
Blee, that was his 19th carry of the season, now 201 yards on the ground, and he has 4 rushing touchdowns, 1 game over the century mark so far this season. Blee keeps it for the 2nd straight time, and Blee gets about maybe 3 that time, a bit better. We'll see where they mark him. It will be 3rd down coming up for South Point.
Adam Hodge talked to us about being effective in this option offense. You've got to know you got to be able to block on the perimeter and block straight up the middle. And so far, they're not winning these matchups up front. Crest is getting good penetration, not allowing these plays to really develop with any sort of success to this point.
As Hodge told us over and over, got to take what they give you. 3rd and 6, the 25. Blee, 3 straight carries for the South Point quarterback. He needs 6 yards. I think he got enough for the 1st down, and they'll call that he did.
Nice job. The key to really being successful in the running game, whether it's option or not, can you get to the linebacker level? If your offensive line is able to hold up and allow you as either the quarterback or back to get to the 2nd level of the defense, now you're creating some trouble.
This drive is salvaged by that Blee carry. He's had it 3 straight times now. 1st and 10 from the 33 for South Point. 8:30 to go in this first quarter. First time we have the running back involved in this one. See where this is marked. A big crowd that time to get Aaron.
You're going to mark him, what, about 2 yards short? That was a massive hole up the middle of the defense, though.
Got 9 yards that time. They're calling 8 yards. 2nd and 2 coming up from the 42-yard line. So gain of 8. Following that carry by Eric Forston. Forston still the back. Now Blee rolls, got some pressure. Blee, a rare chance to put it up, and it's pulled in by Peyton McCorn, and McCorn is gone. A touchdown for South Point as they go 58 yards. Blee to McCorn to get those 6 points right back. Patrick Blee, when he wants to, he's a terrific passer.
That was so perfect. You set up with the option. Those linebackers, their heads are all in the backfield. And then you let that receiver escape down the sideline. He's wide open, and all he had to do was wait on the pass from Blee for the touchdown.
He put it right in the basket, and he went in for 6.
It doesn't get much easier than that.
No, that Blee just kind of appeared in his hands. Of course, now in a 6-6 game, going for two. Handoff from Blee, looking for some room on the edge. Not going to get there. That was a chance to go for two to get the lead from Chris Stowe, who had it on the end around. We do have a flag down. You can understand it, of course.
To hold on South Point. I'll decline that. We got a tie game.
Yeah, we are tied at 6 with the touchdown from Blee to McCarn. And again, it goes back, how often does this happen? We talk up kind of a point. South Point's a team that's just going to run all over you, and then they have that chance to hit a big hitter down the field. That's exactly what Blee did. That was just his second passing touchdown of the season. And for McCarn, it's the first catch of the season, and it goes from 58 yards.
And it was a perfectly designed play. Perfectly designed, get those Crest linebackers cheating up, heads in the backfield, up top for the touchdown.
7:34 to go here in quarter number one. We're now tied at 6 between Crest and South Point.
I'll tell you what, though.
Yeah.
It's good to see you again.
You too.
It's been about a month.
It has. Too long.
Too long.
Too long.
Corey Hodges live and in person.
Live and in person, and in a get up that I'm glad I'm not on camera. That's all I'm going to say about it. Hey, we got our pre-broadcast shot with Jay Bell and the team.
We did.
I brought the Blazers.
You're saying you got an outfit for radio. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. This is a total radio outfit tonight. This is as casual as I'll ever be. Must be a good omen, though. 6-6, good game to start. Now remember, we saw a little trouble first time on the return for Crest. It's the same return man again. It's Hampton Boykins, and he doesn't get much that time either. Boykins kind of trying to keep his footing. They'll mark it at the 25. It's about where Boykins had it. And here's Crest for their second drive of the night.
What does South Point do differently here? Crest got really great push up front on the opening drive, just running all through South Point's defense. What does South Point do differently here to give Crest some different looks to slow down this running attack?
We're actually seeing, what's interesting about it, we're seeing Hampton Boykins on these last two returns, and Boykins really hadn't had any of that coming into the game. Small gain by Carson, or will he have a loss here? I don't think Carson got out of the backfield. Crest is going to back up. It'll be second and long. He loses 2. Does Carson, who had that incredible opening drive on the ground.
Really good job there by Chance Ford, the linebacker, shooting the gap, getting good penetration, and tracking him down on that first down carry.
Second and 12. Crest, as they say, going the wrong way. Turner McSwain drops back, fires it. It's caught by Borders. And that is right at, if not past, midfield. Connection from McSwain to Borders. They'll mark it at the 49-yard line of South Point. So it's a gain of 24 yards.
When your run game is effective, those linebackers are going to start coming up, and that time they bit hard, and the receiver was wide open for the first down.
So mark it a yard to the good inside South Point territory here for Crest. McSwain, give, Carson, who absorbed one hit up close towards the neck, and then Carson able to get past the 45-yard line on a gain of about 5 that time. Second down.
Adam Hodge did tell us that he felt his South Point corners and that secondary would be tested here in this game. It'll be something to watch for with this potent Crest offense.
Carson seems to be kind of the bell cow here early on for Crest. We've seen that on the ground, and again, coming in with 45 carries, over 200 yards, and picked up his 7th rushing touchdown of the season back on that opening Crest drive. That last run by Carson picked up 5 yards, 2nd and 5 from the 44. McSwain keeps it this time, and McSwain likewise kind of getting his way through the toll booth that time, if you will. He's kind of having to dip and dive and gets inside the 40. Needed 5 yards for a first down, and he comes up a yard short, 3rd and 1.
Turner McSwain is not your average quarterback. He's not trying to slide. He's not trying to evade or elude anybody. He brings on all the contact, man. He wants it.
Big and tall running that football. We've got our version of the terrible towels here tonight in Belmont. They're not yellow. They're not Pittsburgh Steeler yellow and black. They're white and red for the Red Raiders of South Point. They've got the towels waving in the crowd. Quite a sight. 3rd and 1 from the 39. Crest needs a yard, and they're not going to get it via McSwain. 4th down.
You know they're going for this.
Oh, yeah.
Great job by South Point. McSwain just never got push. South Point stuffed that play. And now we got a 4th down. A big play here in the first quarter.
4th and 1. We've got a timeout. Timeout, South Point. So, Coach Hodge and company, they want to get set here for the big defensive play. You scored a touchdown. You got the game tied at 6. There's that missing now extra point and a 2-point conversion hanging around out there. So 4th down coming up, and South Point wanted to talk a bit more. Ortho Carolina, their orthopedic expertise, it's all around you. From urgent care to your full recovery, Ortho Carolina, they're there every step of the way. Ortho Carolina, your better choice for musculoskeletal care. And also remember our broadcast tonight here on the NFHS Network, our Charlotte High School Football Rivalry Series, also brought to you by AAA. If you're looking for reliable car care here in your neighborhood, your local AAA Car Care offers a full range of car maintenance and repair services. They're open to both AAA members and non-members. AAA.com/car care touchdown. That's how you find a AAA near you. We've got flags on this 4th down and 1 play for Crest, and that is a false start on the Chargers, and it's now 4th and 6.
That's brutal.
That is.
Now they've got to bring out the punt unit. Penalties and turnovers, especially in rivalry games, they always end up rearing their ugly head.
4th and 1 was something to work with. 4th and 6 means special teams comes out now for Crest. With 4:13 to go in this first quarter, an exciting one. Now, Crest was not set up in a situation here to actually punt this football away, because we spied there in the backfield Michael Edwards, the big defensive back, wide receiver, who's had all those receiving yards so far this season for Crest. They were set up 4th and 6, and now Crest takes a timeout. So you can only think there, Armand, trying to get South Point to jump so they can get that penalty yardage back.
That's crucial because Crest was about to go for that.
Yeah.
They were about to go for it. So what do they do now? They've already shown their hand. Hard to see them trying to do it again. But who knows? It was 61-49 last year. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's throw everything out there. Let's do it.
That's right. Let's have a Kirk Cousins moment here tonight.
Yes,
how many
indeed.
yards can you pass for?
He had 500 last night?
509.
Let's do it. I would love it.
Got Drake London on the fantasy team. That's the only reason I know it. 4th and 6. Okay, now, Armand, we're back to, they'll punt now. South Point back with Crawford to return. Crawford catches it in the basket, gets past the 25-yard line. They'll mark it maybe around the 26, 27-yard line, so kind of run straight ahead. And we'll see South Point back out onto the field in a 6-6 game.
There's a ton of traffic there. I'm a
Sure
little
is.
surprised he opted to go and try and return that one. Got kind of dangerous.
Yeah, no fair catch called for that time. He ran straight into traffic. They will mark this at the 22-yard line here for the Red Raiders. That was Crawford's in total, first punt return of the season. Little pitch, trying to find some blockers. Absorbing one hit, still up out of it. Crawford, the return man on the punt, gets it here on the pitch from his quarterback, Blee, and they'll mark it at the 27. So Crawford, he's had back-to-back plays, a lot of bodies around him, gets 5 yards there.
A good job by Crawford, too, of bouncing off tacklers. Physicality is something you can't quite teach. You've got to just know how to slither away and bounce off defenders. Crawford did a nice job that time.
Actually marked that he got 4 yards, so 2nd and 6. Even Adam Hodge says for Patrick Blee, he's got to make a decision in about half a second. Then he has to make another decision in about a half second after that. Look how quick things happen for Blee. He trickles his way past the 30-yard line. Needed 6 for a first down. They'll mark that he got 5 of it. It's 3rd and 1, and here we go again, a short yardage situation on down and distance.
We'll see 3-man fronts from Crest. We'll see 4-man fronts from Crest. They'll play some nickel with 5 defensive backs, doing a whole lot to try and throw this South Point offense off. Let's see what they can do here on a 3rd and short. Perfect situation for South Point's offense.
3rd and 1 from the 31. Blee keeps and should have the yard. And he got it, and it's a first down for South Point. Fresh set for the Red Raiders.
So Crest sends extra defenders crashing from the edges. South Point that time takes it straight up the middle and picks up the first down.
1st and 10, they'll mark this now at the 33-yard line. That's where Blee gets it out to for the fresh set. 6-6 game. We saw Blee show off the arm on that Peyton McCarn, the tight end / defensive end touchdown on that South Point drive, which answered the 6 points on the board for Crest. Blee still has it, met in a crowd. It'll be 2nd down. Stephon Bethune in there to ride him down.
Bethune plays that defensive line spot, but he's a bit undersized at just 6'2", 210 pounds, but you're talking about athletes across the board. I will say that one of the keys for South Point in this game as well is can they wear Crest down with long punishing drives? If they can do that, the attrition starts setting in.
A team like this, that's their MO. Run the football at every opportunity, and it's a team that can sneak up on you in terms of rushing totals. Blee kind of kept it until the last second, and then pitched it over towards Eric Forston. It'll be 3rd down. Forston was battling for room on the near side, trying to get to the edge. It's another 3rd down, 2nd of this drive for South Point.
That's the kind of discipline we're talking about defensively. Everybody flows that way.
Yeah.
Pre-snap, you've got to be able to identify that, know where that ball is going. Crest did a good job that time, forcing now this 3rd down and long. South Point as an offense, 3rd and longs are not as good for them as they would be for some other teams. You start getting into these predictable situations, feeding right into Crest's defense.
It's 3rd and 7 for South Point from the 36-yard line. Blee, that's a live ball, and Crest has it. Recovered by Jari Mosley as Blee pitched it to Gavin Smith. Smith couldn't get his hands on it. It was a live ball, and Mosley, the senior defensive back, leapt on it. It's a turnover, and Crest is going to have the football in prime position.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. They had this thing, wrecked at the start. Really good job by this Crest defense. Jahari Mosley gets the recovery, but give credit to A.J. Davis, the 5'9" junior defensive lineman. He was right there.
Crest right after the turnover. They'll keep it on the ground. Carson gets close to a first down that time out there on the far side. It's under a minute to go. They will give Carson the first down. Ball marked here at the 16-yard line. Meanwhile, a moment ago, it was Mosley who came up with his first recovery of the season for the fumble. He has caused one fumble on the season. That time, though, Mosley came through for the second fumble recovery of the season for this Crest defense. 1st and 10 from the 16 for the Chargers. McSwain hands it off. Carson again. This time meets a wall of South Point Red Raiders. Dalton Skipper in there. And Skipper kind of clogs things up for Carson. It'll be second down. See how much Carson got out of that. He squeegees about 2 yards out of it.
South Point does have a little bit of size up front. Not much, not the biggest team in the world. They do have a bit of size up the middle of that defensive line, though, for Chris to have to deal with.
Yeah, big Dalton Skipper in there. 2nd and 8, more on him later. 2nd and 8 from the 14, under now 20 seconds to go in this first quarter. The key with Borders, who has it. Borders is inside the 5-yard line. I don't think Crest is this quick to get down here and pick this up. It'll be 1st and goal now. Of course, the clock stopping here on that first down pickup. Now it will wind again. Just 6 seconds left, and Crest is just fine. South Point as well, letting this clock run down to the end of quarter number 1. So Crest will have it at the 3-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for the Chargers coming up. We're tied at 6, second quarter on the way next. On this Friday night, you're watching the Charlotte High School Football Rivalry Series, and it's powered by Ortho Carolina.
Be sure to get your hat and hat ticket.
I made the better choice, and so can you.
All right, we're back. Corey Hodges, Armand Brody, our team here with you on the NFHS Network. Charlotte High School Football Rivalry Series, powered by Ortho Carolina on this Friday night here in Belmont, North Carolina. 6-6, and we're now going to go left to right for Crest, Armand, so we'll train our eyes back this direction. And here are the Chargers trying to go up now, possibly by, well, 6 more, obviously, maybe that extra point. That extra point that was missed by Sanchez on that drive that scored a touchdown on the first time for Carson is looming, but also that missed 2-point conversion for South Point as well. So technically, we're missing 3 points at the moment, but we are tied at 6. Crest trying to punch it in again.
All of it coming after the turnover there. And South Point quarterback Patrick Blee got desperate, and Crest forces the miscue.
McSwain, 1st and goal from the 3. McSwain, the pitch to Carson, and Carson, now he gets some pressure right at the end. Carson ultimately, though, gets his way in without a problem. Jent Miller was trying to get back over there to him, and Carson has his 2nd rushing touchdown of the night, the pitch, and then got to the edge for 6.
That was too easy. Ortho Carolina instant replay. Look at how they seal the inside, and it's so easy. He has enough room to bounce out to the outside there. And I love number 99, Kentrell Degree, the big lineman, 6'3", 280, running with him.
All eyes now on Sanchez, who missed the first extra point. And now Sanchez would like some redemption here. The hold from Brock Melton.
He blocked it.
So Sanchez 0 for 2 tonight when it comes to extra points. South Point blocks it. So now we have 4 missing points. A failed 2-point conversion, and Sanchez has missed an extra point outright and had that most recent one blocked. So it's 12-6. This really is going to be scoregami tonight.
You know what? I'm ready for it.
I'm ready, Anthony. Ortho Carolina, their orthopedic expertise, it's all around you, from, as you get a last look there at that blocked extra point from Sanchez, from urgent care to your full recovery. Ortho Carolina, they are there every step of the way. Ortho Carolina, your better choice for musculoskeletal care. Sounds spooky almost, that read. Skeletal. It's spooky season.
You like October, so
I love October.
Yeah, it fits you.
It does.
It's not as cool as I would like to be, though.
Not at all.
Yeah. This is not October weather.
It's just past 8 o'clock. It's 73 degrees. It's plenty humid, and the best way to find out about that, hike up the steps here at South Point to get to the press box, and you'll find out how humid it is. Got a nice little brisk pre-broadcast jog in. 12-6, Crest Chargers, just 6 seconds into this second quarter. Runway's cleared now for Nick Sanchez. He's had some tough luck tonight. And Sanchez is going to have a redo here. And this is on Crest. So we're going to back this up here for Sanchez.
It did take him a while to get started.
Yeah.
The layup game there is going to move him back a bit.
Yeah, I didn't have my eyes on the play clock, but yeah, it was running. Cam Crawford back to return. Here's Sanchez, backed up 5 yards. Now he kicks it away. This one's still a bit of a low burner. It's fielded not by Crawford, but by Brody Crawford. So one Crawford gets it here and gets it around the 38-yard line. So not Cam, but Brody that time on the return, the junior.
Well, these kickoffs have been an adventure here tonight, and Brody Crawford, I don't know if it was designed to have him return it. He sort of stepped in front and was Johnny on the spot and took it for a nice gain up close to the 40-yard line.
See, now that makes more sense, though, there with Brody Crawford. Of course, Cam Crawford, that was Brody Crawford's second kickoff return of the season, averages about 17 yards per return. 1st and 10 from the 39 here for South Point, trailing 12-6. Crest there to stop play one of this next drive as Eric Forston meets a wall, and he gets, they're marking it with the sticks, a gain of 1, so 2nd and 9.
What does South Point do offensively to give Crest something different? We know that triple option offense is a hallmark of theirs, and it has been for quite some time. What will they pull out here as this game goes along to throw Crest off balance and find some big plays?
Forston behind Blee was the second best rusher coming in, had 196 yards on the ground behind Blee. Speaking of Forston, he gets it again. He does better with this one. They'll mark it at the 45, so a gain of 5, and it will be 3rd and 4 here for South Point.
Forston does a good job of keeping his legs moving even after he's hit with contact. He can get low, compact, really makes it difficult to bring him down for a tackle.
Well, Forston had 21 carries coming in, just shy of the 200-yard mark, obviously over that now, and 3 rushing touchdowns on the season for the Red Raiders. 3rd and 4 from the 35. Blee still has it, twisting and turning. He's not going to get there. Mosley in, one of those to stop him. It will be 4th down and 1 for South Point. Here we go again, a 4th and 1.
They are going for it, it appears. The question is, do they make this simple and do a sneak, or do they try to do something else? We saw back in the first quarter, they had a play-action fake. They've been running that option successfully. That's how they got the touchdown. What do they do here with one receiver to the far side, man coverage out that way?
4th and 1 from their 48, and with 7 on the play clock, a timeout's called. Crest will call the timeout, so the Chargers want to talk about this.
We'd like to announce that the 35th annual
Ortho Carolina, they are committed to empowering those who may be impacted by injuries. In partnership with the HURT mobile app, Ortho Carolina, they provide free on-the-go, real-time access to orthopedic specialists, and they do that 365 days a year. So download the HURT mobile app.
This year's keynote speaker will be UNC's 21-time national.
I think if you're South Point, you're feeling okay right now, because as we talked about, the longer the 3rd downs, the 2nd downs are for South Point, the more trouble they'll be in. They've got to play this game 1 down ahead. they've got to treat first downs like second downs. They've got to treat second downs like third downs, because if they end up in second and third and longs, it allows Crest to pretty much know what South Point wants to do. And they've got enough talent across the board at the 3 levels of Crest defense to read and react well to what South Point wants to do on a given play, especially if it's a long situation.
South Point 6-5 last season, went 4-3 in the Big South 3A. 4th and 1 following the Crest timeout. This should be enough. In fact, good by about 2 yards that time on the effort by Blee. It's going to put the ball 2 yards to the good inside of Crest territory. In fact, 1 yard to the good. They'll mark it at the 49.
I love the hustle and the energy there by Blee. I mean, he took off and just scurried for that first down for South Point.
First and 10 from the 49 of Crest for South Point. Blee gives to the running back, and that's Forston. Forston, they'll mark him at the 41-yard line that time. So a gain of 8, 2nd and 2 now. They'll mark it here for South Point, rather, 2nd and short.
South Point having a lot of success running the ball straight up the gut between the tackles. What will Crest do? Will they start filling up those gaps, filling up the box with a bunch of linebackers? How will they respond to South Point having this kind of success between the tackles?
Forston getting a lot of work. This time Blee will fake it, steps back, airs it out, and that one is intercepted. Picked off by Tank Ruff as Blee was going for Chris Stowe, and Tank Ruff took it away. Ruff, the senior cornerback, with the 2nd turnover of the night for Crest defense.
The ball was underthrown. One-on-one coverage on the outside. Underthrown. Tank Ruff does a great job of high pointing that thing. Didn't have to get up too high for it. Does a great job of reading and reacting, knowing exactly where that ball is. Played it well, it was underthrown, and he picked it off.
It's Tank Ruff's his 2nd interception of the season. First down following the takeaway for Crest. Carson gets another carry and gets it past the 15-yard line. It'll be 2nd down coming up following the turnover. So you're ahead by 6 points. You have a recovery of a loose football in this game from back in the first. Now you've got an interception, and that last run by Carson, who's been getting a heavy dose of work tonight, went for 4 yards. It's 2nd and 6 from the 18. McSwain, time to go. McSwain finds an avenue, gets through, and is close to the marker. Needed 6 to pick it up, and he got it.
Chance forward on that 4th route.
This guy is such a good runner. We were talking to a coach, I don't remember if it was last year or the year before last, but he said when a quarterback can run the ball well, it's like having 12 players on the field versus 11. Turner McSwain is that kind of a running back, and you have to account for him. The problem is he's also the quarterback, so it really confuses a defense when you have a quarterback that's successful in the run game.
Yeah, that's what Adam Hodge told us as well. You got that quarterback who can do both. He's a tough one to handle. Carson again, this time past the 30-yard line. Looks like they'll mark him at the 31-yard line, so a gain of 7 that time. And it'll be 2nd and 3 here for Crest.
Carson slices well.
Yeah.
He likes to run laterally, but when he finds a spot to go downhill, north and south, he will find it and he will jump it.
Carson was the overwhelming rushing leader coming in. We mentioned his 45 carries, and he's getting a lot of work here in this one. McSwain, far side. Picked off. An interception for South Point. Gaffin Smith intercepts McSwain, who was trying to go on the flats for a pickup, and that is a takeaway for South Point, much needed.
I don't think, as you take a look at the Otho Carolina instant replay, I don't think the quarterback actually realized Smith was there at the safety spot. Smith is reading this thing. He's there to provide the help. And I guess the quarterback thought it was man coverage, but Smith comes over, reads that thing beautifully, elevates, and picks it off.
Yeah, that's big for Smith, big for South Point, period, to come up with a takeaway of their own. Smith, that junior wide receiver / defensive back. 1st and 10 from the 40 at South Point. A couple plays later, they've got the football right back. And a running play with Forston, not much. 2nd down. It will give Forston nothing. Back to the line of scrimmage. Yeah, 2nd and 10.
Question now for South Point. They've had some success in the run game, but Crest has started to clamp down on that run game a bit. Makes you wonder if there's a pass play coming up here, some sort of play action or something to maybe loosen up this Crest defense, in particular at the linebacker and secondary levels.
Well, following that interception by Smith, which was his 3rd pick of the season for Gavin Smith, he's a team leader for South Point. Crest is pointing like they had the football, and they do, as Grady Nodine came out with it. The junior linebacker came out of the pile. We do have a player back up quick here for Crest. That's Stephon Bethune. But here's how the fumble happened, Armand.
Although Carolina instant replay, he's standing up, refusing to go down, and Crest just starts ripping at the ball. The officials did not mark the play dead, and it gives Crest the opportunity to take that ball away. And there you see the recovery and the celebration from the Chargers. And for good reason, they just forced another turnover. That's 3 turnovers now in the first half for South Point.
Yeah, 2 on picks, 1 on a fumble recovery. It's now our 3rd takeaway, 2 for Crest, 1 for South Point in the last about 6-7 plays. So just like that, somehow the football has actually moved downfield here for Crest, although South Point reads this well, gets in on Carson with Chance Ford in there, one of those in a crowd to come in and force Carson backwards, 2nd and long after a loss of about 3.
Lucas Conger, I wish we could get a replay of it, but Lucas Conger, number 52, had such great penetration on that play. It never had a chance. What a great job by this junior linebacker of shooting and destroying that play before it really had a chance to develop.
Yeah, they'll call it a loss of 2, so 2nd and 12. The football is still 2 yards to the good inside of South Point territory. 5:25 to go before halftime. Crest leading 12-6. McSwain drops back, gets it to Carson. This is kind of a screen in progress. Carson whacked from behind by Dalton Skipper, who ran him down and then rammed him like an iceberg that time. It'll be 3rd down.
It's a good play call on the Otto Carolina instant replay. Watch Joe McCullough. And boom! You feel those.
Yeah, wasn't even really Skipper, Armand. It was who
McCullough.
you said. Yeah, exactly.
And you feel those.
Yeah. Wow. That's McCullough, the senior defensive tackle. 3rd and 5 from 48. And now Crest with some trickery. Tackle in the backfield as Brock Melton gets stopped by Crawford. And it's now 4th down. Watch this again.
Although Carolina instant replay, a 4-man rush. And like you said, they try to run some trickery. And South Point was having none of it. Great tackle by Cam Crawford. Chance Ford was there as well. Disciplined defensively, not biting, not falling for anything that Chris was trying to throw out there from a trick standpoint, and getting a nice stop after the turnover.
So that was McSwain to Melton, 1 QB to the other. Melton, who came in 2 for 2 on the season for 37 yards and a passing touchdown. So sometimes they will use Melton. They tried him that time, but it just got blown up. 4th and 14. Here comes the punt. And it bounced to the 25-yard line. There was not a whole lot of room over there on that punt either. The punt was from Stephon Bethune, and it was that close, and it might have even been touched on his punt. I think there was a sliver of it.
Yeah, there was a chance. I couldn't quite tell, but it did not have the travel time that the fans around here would have liked to see. South Point they need a big play.
Yeah.
They need a big play to open up Crest defense a bit, and to sort of create some off balance from Crest defense. They got to stop turning the ball over too.
Yeah, that would help. 1st and 10 from the 25. Quick out, and Crest is there defensively. Crawford gets it for almost nothing that time, and Crawford gets stopped immediately. 2nd and 12. He'll go 2 yards in arrears.
2nd and 12.
2nd and 12 from the 23 coming up here for South Point. 3:15 to go before the break.
I'd like to see South Point do something off play action, get Blee on the move, and see if those receivers can win a matchup on the outside. Something like that to open Crest defense up a bit.
Blee turns around, hands it to his favorite guy tonight, Eric Forston. There's Crest defensively in there. They clog that up. It will be 3rd down as he was met by Tavion Wisnant.
And see, this is not what you want if you're South Point. This is a must-pass situation here now. Crest is probably going to open this thing up from a defensive standpoint, from a secondary standpoint, and we'll see if they add some extra defensive backs in here. We'll also say, South Point's done it on occasion here tonight. They've even run the ball on a 3rd down. Of course, I wouldn't advise it here, but we'll see what happens.
That one only gained a yard. 3rd and long. It's 3rd and 11 from their own 24 here for the Red Raiders. Blee gets sacked, and it's 4th down. A.J. Davis, the junior defensive lineman. Davis gets to Blee, takes him down, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, as soon as they get down for a loss on that 1st down play, that drive is over.
Crest takes his final time out of the half.
So the Chargers here with under 2 minutes to go now before halftime, minute 54 to be exact. They will get set to get the football back, leading 12-6. And so they take their final timeout. Ortho Carolina, they're committed to empowering those who may be impacted by injuries. In partnership with the Hurt mobile app, Ortho Carolina, they provide free, on-the-go, real-time access to orthopedic specialists, and they do it 365 days per year. And also, I want to remind you that Ortho Carolina, their orthopedic expertise, it's all around you. From urgent care to your full recovery, Ortho Carolina, they're there every step of the way. Ortho Carolina, your better choice for musculoskeletal care.
That would be very much appreciated. Keep South Point clean, green, and red.
Be a big opportunity here for Crest to create some distance going into the halftime break.
Devarius Surratt will be the return man here for Crest. Might not get to Surratt. It's going to bounce just past the 45 to the 46, and then rolls out of bounds on Dalton Skipper's punt. So here comes the Chargers. They're going to be past midfield. They're going to start with the football. A minute 55 to go, Armand. They have no timeouts, but they're already into South Point territory, leading by 6.
This would be a good time. We have not heard much from Michael Edwards here in this 1st half for Crest, number 2 and white. It'd be a good time to get Mike involved on the outside here as Crest has this drive here with less than 2 minutes left going into the halftime break.
It's crazy, Armand. 17 catches coming into this game, 261 yards, 3 touchdowns. No one else even has 100 yards for this Crest team, but yet we haven't heard a thing yet so far from him. Maybe not a reason to even change things. Here's a big play. Turner McSwain, the quarterback. McSwain keeps it, steps out of bounds inside the 20-yard line on a huge first play of this late first half drive.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. They create such an alley up the middle, and then McSwain can slither away from 2 or 3 defenders in traffic and bounce to the outside to pick up more yardage. He is an impressive runner. He does not run like a quarterback. He runs like a running back, and it's a very dangerous weapon.
A gain of 29, 1st and 10 from the 17. That only took about 8 seconds off the clock. Minute 47 to go here in the first half. Back now to Carson on the handoff by McSwain, and Carson is close to the 10-yard line. It'll be second down.
Paxton Dobbins, number 58. Here it is, Ortho Carolina instant replay. Look at how he's leading the way. Push, push, push. Getting in there and messing up South Point defenders to create space for the back to pick up a nice gain.
Gain of 6. Carson got a block on the edge. Carson now trying to cut it right back up through the defenders. Not really much there, maybe a yard or 2. It will be third down with about a minute left here before the break.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. Watch Tucker Wesson pull and then hold that block to try and allow for Carson to cut back up the field. That's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, you're right. That was pretty. 3rd and 4 from the 10 with under a minute to go. Crest has no timeouts left. And we've got
timeout South Point. They had a guy running on the field late. Adam Hodge just took his headset off in frustration. Pretty good to have, all things considered, despite some of the wacky stuff we've seen here.
Only got 18 combined points, 12-6 game, kind of a back after this word from Ortho Carolina.
We don't leave the operating room until it's perfect.
After my surgery, even though it hasn't been that long, I'm able to do things that I wasn't able to do before, and the progress of the recovery has been a lot faster than I anticipated.
We aspire to make patients feel at the end of the entire recovery like nothing has happened. They're back to their baseline.
Welcome back. 48 seconds left here before the break. 3rd and 4 from the 10. Here for the Crest Chargers, leading 12-6.
All right, get your towels out. Big third down. Jordan King, third down.
Still watching from Mike Edwards. He's at the bottom of the screen. He's had a quiet half.
McSwain, will he go there? McSwain looking, serving. Finds his target. That's Brock Melton in the back of the end zone for 6. And it's 18-6, Crest over South Point.
Ortho Carolina instant replay, so no, they didn't have to go that way. This is just fantastic protection, and Melton is unaccounted for as he slips away from the defense again and scores that touchdown.
There's Melton. We saw from earlier when Melton was in on that play that got blown up when McSwain tossed it to him. That time, McSwain to Melton, it works out just fine. Kind of gets it from the doorstep, works his way in. So in an 18-6 game, 43 ticks left before the break. And in this situation with the missing points out there, Crest will go for 2. McSwain looks to Carson and finds them. 2-point conversion good. And this is a 20-6 lead for Crest.
2-point conversion, but we have a flag on the play.
Flag down here, so we wait.
Must have been a late flag. Didn't see it during the play. Illegal shift on Crest. So those 2 points, as you look at the Ortho Carolina instant replay, those 2 points will not be added to the scoreboard for Crest. And now what do the Chargers do? Imagine that extra point is now going to be the option.
Trying to make it a 19-6 game. This will bring back out Sanchez.
Sanchez in for the extra point.
Special teams has been quite an adventure here tonight between kickoffs and the punt we just saw, which honestly set Crest up to be in this situation with great field position.
It's a 25-yard extra point. Sanchez, that's a low burner, and he missed it. Kind of a worm burner that time on the extra point try. This will, after all of that, it stays 18-6. Tough night for Sanchez.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. It wasn't blocked, I don't think.
No.
It just fell short. It was a wobbler all the way, and he didn't miss it by much, but he did just miss that thing. And as you said, Corey, some points have been left on the board here in this ball game, and we'll see what kind of impact it has as we get down the stretch. It's homecoming, so the halftime is going to be a bit longer. And both these teams, remember this too, they're rusty, right?
Sure.
They haven't played in a couple of weeks because of the hurricane. So maybe that's a reason that we've seen some of the miscues that we've seen here. Greg Lloyd, head coach of Crest, and I'm sure Adam Hodge, head coach at South Point, is going to address that with these teams and just try and settle them down a bit, calm them down. And not only do they come back from missing a week, but it's a conference game, their first conference game. It's homecoming and a rivalry game. That's a lot to process.
And a lot to go. Yeah, we had a laugh about that with Adam Hodge on the Zoom earlier in the week. But yeah, before the lost game last weekend, of course, it had been a perfect start for each of these teams. So someone's coming out of here no longer unbeaten tonight. Return starts from around the 15-yard line, and it's a good return to boot. This might go all the way for South Point, and it does. Gavin Smith. That is a touchdown with 31 seconds left in the first half. Smith goes the distance.
North Carolina instant replay, 84 yards. He has the middle, he gets the block, and he's untouched the entire way. He's going to outrun the kicker every single time. Electrifying 84-yard return. And just like that, South Point is right back in this ball game.
Well, that is massive to now be in an 18-12 game. Going for two. Now we'll see the Red Raiders go for two. Picking his way through is Blee. We have a flag down on this two-point try.
We have a flag on the play.
The same penalty on South Point as there was on Crest, the legal shift.
Back this up. So you're still going for two, or are you going to bring out the special teams here and go for that extra point? South Point's going to at least discuss this. They had one timeout remaining. Adam Hodge and team on the sideline. What a play for Smith to go 80-plus yards on that kickoff return. Kind of one of those plays that changes a lot of the tenor of this first half, Armand.
Yeah, it definitely affects the texture of this one. And what really stands out to me about it is the fact that, I mean, it was untouched up the middle. Usually there's some sort of movement left or right and maybe some contact even, but right up the middle he went before he bounced it to the outside and got past the kicker for the score.
I know you always ask the head coaches. We only got a chance to speak with Adam Hodge this week, but I know you always ask the coaches, and I always love it when you do this too, Armand. You ask them if you had to write the intro to the game, kind of what would you say? What would you write? And Adam Hodge said, two great programs. They're going to play hard. Who will make the least amount of mistakes? Both teams are good, so who makes the least amount of boo-boos, if you will? Well, so far we've seen our fair share on each side. I would say we're probably at a push in that department so far.
Yeah, we're about even.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And that's another one.
That's another one out of bounds. 30 by Weslowski.
Corey, there's still 31 seconds left here. Crest could score again before this half comes to an end.
No timeouts, but Crest got down and scored a touchdown with about a minute and a half remaining on their last drive. And of course, that's the only thing about a quick hitting play like the one we saw from Gavin Smith on the kickoff return, is that it doesn't take a whole lot of time off of that clock. So we're kind of creaking towards the end of this first half. It's been an elongated finish to the second quarter. And as AB just mentioned, we're not done yet. 31 seconds left before halftime. And South Point will
kick
re-kick.
it over here, yeah. I'll remind you quickly that the Otho Carolina halftime report is coming up. An interview with Dr. Piasecki. That's coming up on the Otho Carolina halftime report. It's homecoming around here, so they're going to crown a king and a queen. And we're going to sit back and watch that. And Dr. Piasecki is going to talk to you from Otho Carolina. That's coming up on the Otho Carolina halftime report.
Looking forward to that. The second of our 5 this now officially fall 2024 Charlotte High School Football Rivalry Series powered by Otho Carolina. Weslowski, this one will stay in play, fielded from the 26-yard line by Tank Ruff, who had the interception from earlier. Now Ruff is past midfield. He's going to run this out with a flag right after Ruff got run out of bounds. We'll see what the penalty is for the moment. They'll mark the ball inside South Point territory.
Some barking going on over there on that Crest sideline as well. Once you get close to the boundary as a defender, you have got to be careful. You've got to be disciplined there. Because, and even if you're Tank Ruff, you know that if you get towards the boundary, there's a chance that a late hit is going to give you some more yardage, and that's exactly what happened. And like we said, they don't have any timeouts left, but Crest has 22 seconds left. There's something else that can happen here before this half comes to a close.
Looks like it might be the girls.
33-yard line. Still waiting on Mike Edwards here, the receiver. Talented receiver for Crest. He's at the bottom of the screen again.
Yeah, Edwards hasn't caught one football so far tonight. Plays blown dead here for Crest. Full start. It'll be 1st and 15 from the 38.
You notice this, South Point had their defensive backs playing very soft coverage. They're willing to give up stuff underneath. Knowing that Crest has no timeouts left, they're willing to do that as long as they don't have Crest go out of bounds and stop the clock. No timeouts for Crest, 1 timeout for South Point.
21 seconds left here in the first half in an 18-12 game. That big South Point kickoff return from Gavin Smith, changing the vibes of this late second quarter. Crest looking for one more answer before the break.
Got another delay. I guess it's worked out now.
Borders at the top, Edwards at the bottom. Here's McSwain rolling to his right. First catch of the night from Michael Edwards. Has it right at the 30-yard line. It's a gain of 8, and we have a Michael Edwards sighting.
It's going to be important for Crest to get some really good yardage here because, as we've seen, you can't rely on the kicking game in this ball game here tonight. So good job by Edwards. Runs a really nice, clean route. Took what the defense gave him, as Adam Hodge would say. Just broke it to the outside and got out of bounds to save some time.
Edwards, his 18th catch of the season. That one for the star for Crest. Some blockers here. First down, close to the 20 on the catch and run by Tajay Borders. 10 seconds left. Clock should wind here in seconds once they mark it. First down pickup, of course, or they haven't changed the down and distance numbers. So, of course, now Blee is just going, or check that rather, it's going to be McSwain who will clock it. He does so. 5 seconds left. A lot going on.
Got one play here really now.
Yeah.
Good job by Crest of getting set and stopping the clock. They lost 4 seconds. Like to get off 2 plays in that situation, but with what they have going on now with just less than 6 seconds, probably only really have time confidently for 1 play before halftime here.
Well, it's going all verts now for Crest. 4 wideouts here for Turner McSwain. 5 seconds left. McSwain looks for one of them. Instead, he finds a South Point Red Raider intercepted by Gavin Smith. Smith, yet another pick this season for South Point. He had the kickoff return to bring the Red Raiders back into this game, and now Smith gets the walk-off interception in half number 1.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. The pass was way overthrown. Really no chance there. We've got some action going on the Crest sideline here, and coaches are coming out to try and keep these players away from each other. Some barking and some talking over there. Good job by the coaches of hurrying up to separate the teams. This is a rivalry game. Emotions are high. And a good job by the coaches of extinguishing that fire.
A turnover-filled first half. Interceptions, fumble recoveries, missed extra points. A little bit of everything. 18-12 is the lead for Crest over South Point. Halftime coming up, and we're back shortly to get you ready for the start of quarter number 3. We'll stay here on the NFHS Network. And we've got some highlights from the first half, Armand.
Yes, indeed. Ortho Carolina instant replay. Tough throw here as he had to backpedal, but he had a wide open man, did the quarterback for South Point there, Mr. Patrick Blee. Rumbling down the sideline was Peyton McCarn for that touchdown. Got the crowd rocking. It's been a wacky first half to this point. We take a look at some more replay. South Point, we know they run that option. Get those defenders up. And that time they forced a turnover. That was a big play earlier here in this first half. Jahari Mosley got the recovery that time for the Crest Chargers. They had reason to celebrate at that point. We take you more now into the highlights here. Ortho Carolina brings them to us. Got the toss here and just all kinds of room on the outside for Aiden Carson. He's used to those. He touches Pater at that time and just keeps on walking a little bit after the score. And we bring you more highlights from the first half as you take a look at what's happening here with the Crest offense. And Mr. McSwain, so good. He finds that time Brock Melton for the touchdown. It's an 18-12 Crest lead here versus South Point. There has been so much adventure in this ball game. This was probably the most electrifying play. The 84-yard kickoff return for a touchdown right there as Gavin Smith got this crowd on its feet and raucous as he took that 84 yards for the score. We've seen everything in this half. Penalties and turnovers and scores. It's been fun, and Crest has the 18-12 lead at the halftime break.
Yeah, that's where we are, and it is now officially time for homecoming halftime here in Belmont. 6-point edge for Crest. We'll let halftime festivities take place. You'll also have the interview there from Ortho Carolina. Stay tuned for that. We'll come back after all of that from here in Belmont and get you set for quarter number 3. Charlotte High School Football Rivalry Series powered by Ortho Carolina. It's our second broadcast of the fall. We're back after this.
The first question out of a kid's mouth is, when can I get back to doing what I want to do?
So in 2019, I was in class and I was doing a jump that I've been doing since I was maybe 6 years old. And my foot went one knee, my knee went the other, and my knee dislocated. It amazes me how I went through what I went through and I was still able to continue my dreams.
Welcome back to halftime of the Charlotte Rivalry Series, powered by Ortho Carolina. Throughout the high school football season, we have the privilege to talk about sports medicine with doctors at Ortho Carolina. Today, we are pleased to be joined by Dr. Pisecki, whose specialties include cartilage restoration, elbow, knee ligament reconstruction, shoulder, and sports medicine. He was a former team assistant physician for the Chicago White Sox and Chicago Bulls, and has served as a head team physician for Queen's University, as well as a U.S. Olympic Team Network physician. In addition to his professional pursuits, Dr. Pisecki was a former rower, water polo player, and Division I NCAA swimmer. He is a former member of the United States National Flatwater Sprint Kayaking Team, a U.S. Olympic Training Center resident, and medal winner at the U.S. Olympic Team Trials, U.S. National Championships, World Sprint Team Trials, and Canadian National Championships. Dr. Pisecki, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Jordy. It's great to be here.
Dr. Pisecki, to begin, football is one of the most popular sports for school-age athletes, but it does carry a high risk of injury. What precautions should parents take to keep their kids safe on the field?
Great question. This is a question we get all the time, especially now in the fall, of course, when football is geared up. And you're right, football is intrinsically, there's some risk to it. I mean, you got these kids flying against each other, bodies clashing, and you're going to have some injuries. And on some level, it's unavoidable. But you're right, there are some things that parents can pay attention to for their kids, both before the season and during the season, to try to minimize those risks. So most of it, the thing that you have the biggest control over, particularly in the off season, but also maintaining it during the actual season, is conditioning. The whole stretching, warm up, and maintaining condition throughout like a long game. Most of the injuries that we see tend to be towards the end of games when athletes get tired. And there are a lot of injuries that come when the normal protective mechanisms that kids have to keep themselves safe when they do smash into each other, those things can fall apart a little bit if conditioning is really not up to standard. So making sure that your athletes are actually warming up and stretching and maintaining that conditioning throughout the season is super important. And then there's some common sense stuff just that's pretty basic in terms of making sure the equipment works well. A lot of these teenage boys, they kind of like forget about making sure their helmets actually fit and that their cleats are not worn out. And so you want to make sure some of that stuff is up to par too. But most of it has to do with the conditioning element that we see. And so keeping on top of them to make sure they're really keeping that going in the off season, especially in the summer training, and then in between games, making sure they're getting enough rest and keeping that up to snuff is the best way.
And let's say a child is injured. How can the parents respond both quickly and effectively when something like this occurs?
Great question. This is back in the day before technology and before we really understood as much as we now do about these injuries. It was a tough play for parents. A lot of parents would say, we don't know what to do. We're going to take our kid to an emergency room. And you go into the emergency room and you wait for hours and hours and hours, and you don't see a specialist or somebody who's necessarily geared towards these injuries. And they start the process, make sure that you're not going to have a heart attack or something, but these kids are usually not in that boat. And it ends up delaying the actual treatment. So the best way to rapidly figure out what the problem is to access what Charlotte, North Carolina, and surrounding North and South Carolina parents really have a unique access to, and that is the specialists at Ortho Carolina. This group is unique. I've had the great privilege to train in many different places throughout the U.S. and to play and be a part of many different athletic organizations in my life. And I have never witnessed or been a part of any organization as unique as Ortho Carolina. This is a center of excellence, which means we have countless experts in every area of injury and on a world-class level, which has taken decades to really refine. And that's right here in Charlotte. And so, in my opinion, the best way for parents to rapidly take care of an injury is to access the resource that is Ortho Carolina right here in Charlotte.
And Ortho Carolina has an app called Hurt. Would you be able to explain what the purpose of this Hurt app is and what challenges does it address for your patients?
Right. So that's a perfect cue in for what I just described, because the way to access this wonderful group and this resource of expertise in the most efficient way, instead of going to an emergency room and waiting for hours and then eventually getting referred weeks later, the Hurt app allows you to actually access even on the sidelines. If you're in the bleachers and you see your kid go down and you're like, oh my gosh, what do we do? On the app, which is on your phone, you can access within a couple of minutes someone related to Ortho Carolina, one of our specialists that can say, okay, look, here's what you do. And you don't need to go to an emergency room. We're going to make an appointment tomorrow to see this specialist that is going to get the right imaging study and start the treatment immediately for you. And that's essentially, one of the gifts of technology. I'm not a huge fan of smartphones, but this is one amazing benefit to it for our kid is to have that type of technology. So that's what the app does. It allows you to link into this tremendous resource, which is really a gift in this country. It's right here in Charlotte.
And what other specialized services does Ortho Carolina offer high school athletes?
So in addition to the basic injury assessment and treatment that goes with most of the injuries, which just to reassure parents, the vast majority of injuries that we see do not need any surgery. And we are, by definition, a group of surgeons, but we're also a group of physicians. And our physicians are geared towards making your kids get better in the best possible way. And most of that involves non-surgical treatment. So if it comes to a brace or physical therapy or some other type of imaging study, we have every facet of care that's needed. It's not just surgery, and it usually isn't surgery. We have all of that in this group.
And ACL tears are a very common injury, especially in football. Are you able to explain to us what ACL tears are and how can they be prevented in football?
Great question. So the ACL, very common injury, as you mentioned. What ACL stands for is anterior cruciate ligament, ACL. And that's a ligament in the center part of the knee joint that basically keeps your knee from doing that. And that's essentially what happens when you tear the ACL. And it's a great injury to have if you had an injury that needs an operation, because it does typically need a surgery, but obviously you don't want to have it if you can avoid it. And the best way to prevent it, everything we know about the knee and the ACL comes to what I mentioned before, which is conditioning and making sure that the muscle mechanisms that the athlete has to prevent that type of event from occurring in the first place, that they are primed and ready to go. So it's conditioning really in the off season, stretching, a lot of core strengthening, and the things that the trainers really harp on the athletes to work on. They just have to work on it and maintain it. So it's a conditioning thing probably more than anything else. And sometimes, look, bad things do happen in football, and we're here to deal with those if it does happen. But the best way to prevent it probably is that prime conditioning level.
Dr. Piasecki, thank you again for your time and all the great information you shared today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Jordy.
The first question out of a kid's mouth is, when can I get back to doing what I want to do?
So in 2019, I was in class and I was doing a jump that I've been doing since I was maybe 6 years old. And my foot went one knee, my knee went the other, and my knee dislocated. It amazes me how I went through what I went through and I was still able to continue my dreams.
Contestant number 16, Neely Taylor Smith. Please join me in welcoming South Point's 2023 homecoming queen, Lachlan Triplett, to Lineberger Stadium. Lachlan is currently attending UNC Chapel Hill, where she is working towards a degree in marketing. She is continuing her dance career with UNC's Blank Canvas Dance Company. Lachlan misses the sense of community and all of the fun traditions here at South Point. Assisting Lachlan tonight are Hampton Henderson and Miles T. Hampton is the daughter of Jacob and Blair Henderson. She is a second grader at Belmont Central and loves playing outside with her dogs, Murphy and Kenzie. When she grows up, she wants to be a teacher. Miles is the son of Matt and Carmen T. He is a second grader at Belmont Central. He loves baseball, riding dirt bikes, hunting, swimming, Legos, and trucks. When he grows up, he wants to be a builder, an engineer, and a police officer. And now, for the moment we have all been waiting for, we present to you the 2024 Homecoming Queen for South Point High School. The winner is contestant number 11, Trinity Troll. hear it one more time for our 2024 South Point Homecoming Queen, Trinity Troll. Everyone start getting your tickets out. Get ready for the drawing.
You see this button right here? It says program. Watch, hit this. So if I go here, gotcha. So usually, that's what would you see that? You see everything that everybody else sees. And then you just hit it, you may have to, then it goes back to you. So that's how you can't leave that up there? Oh no, that's just showing program controller. That, if I live there, then you know who's out. Gotcha. But I can leave it up there, and but you won't see your shots. I want to see the red box. Right, you won't see the red box. So you'll know you're hot because we're here. So I can tell. You can turn it back, I can tell where it's at. But if you just need to. See, I was wondering, I'm like, right.
All right, everybody get your tickets out. Total raised was $1,675. The winner will take home $837.50. The ticket number is 5799496. 5799496. Please come to the press box with your winning ticket. Again, that ticket number 5799496. Please come to the press box.
With that, in an 18-12 game, we are less than 30 seconds away from starting quarter number 3. And Armand, we saw some of the missing points out there. Missed extra point, a blocked extra point. We had the kickoff return late for South Point. So they've gotten their way back into this game, only trailing by 6. And that sets up an interesting second half in which we kind of feels like we're in for some better offense in the second half considering what we saw in that first half. I think it kind of got better as we went along. We saw South Point continuing to pound the ground game. That's obvious. When they did go through the air, once. It worked out on that long touchdowns early on, but it was kind of a battle of the defenses late in that second half. A couple interceptions on either side. Seemed like neither team could keep the ball. What might we see in the second half?
There was a window where it looked like Crest could pull away in the first half. There was a moment, there was a pocket of time where it looked like Crest had finally wrested the upper hand away from South Point. But Crest was keeping South Point in the game with turnovers and with mistakes. And that's what kept the door open for South Point. And then South Point gets the score late towards the end of the first half. The question is going to remain for South Point. Can they open Crest's defense up? Can they find just a few big passing plays to give them the upper hand here in the second half?
If you're looking for reliable car care here in your neighborhood, you can find it at your local AAA Car Care, as they offer a full range of car maintenance and repair services, and they're open to both AAA members and non-members as well. Visit AAA.com/carcaretouchdown for a location nearest you. Ortho Carolina, they have urgent care options that focus on orthopedic injuries such as sprains, fractures, strains, dislocations as well. You can count on Ortho Carolina to be the more efficient, reliable, simply the better choice when it comes to your car care needs. And finally, Ortho Carolina, they're committed to empowering those who may be impacted by injuries. In partnership with the Hurt mobile app, Ortho Carolina provides free, on-the-go, real-time access to orthopedic specialists, and they do that 365 days a year. None of this would be possible without our team of supporters and our sponsors, and we thank them as well. And now we really are getting close to the start of the second half.
So we talked a lot in the first half about South Point head coach Adam Hodge.
Yeah.
How about Greg Lloyd, though? I love this matchup. You know, we love talking about our coaches. Greg Lloyd is back at his alma mater. Adam Hodge back at his alma mater. Both these coaches here went to the schools they're coaching. Greg Lloyd is in his first year, was hired around April, was the Crest offensive coordinator back in the early 2000s here. He's won a championship or two here with the Crest program. Spent 16 years at Kings Mountain. They are delighted to have him back. Meanwhile, we spoke with Adam Hodge, the head coach over at South Point, 38 years old, as you mentioned, back at his alma mater, and he's got that southern charm to him. And I just love the matchup, you know. Two guys, you've got an older guy in Greg Lloyd, a younger guy in Adam Hodge. I got to read this quote from Adam Hodge because I just think it's great.
Yeah.
He says he's talking about he's been coaching 21 years and the whole thing, and he's a coaching lifer, and he says you can't fry till you get in the grease. You can't fry till you get in the grease, Corey.
Okay, Grandma. Yeah. I love Adam Hodge. You and I had a lot of fun on the call. I loved it too when you picked up in the middle of that Zoom. You're like, you're a fun guy. I'm gonna have some fun talking to you.
And then
Yeah,
the question though is, are we talking vegetable oil? Are we talking canola oil?
Crisco.
Are we talking?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
But now both these teams are in the heat here tonight.
Yeah.
They really don't know which way this game's going to turn, because every time we think one team has an advantage, something crazy happens: a kickoff return, a fumble, an interception, a strange penalty, a missed extra point. Heaven knows what we've got in store here in the second half.
Okay, so South Point will receive the football here to start half number 2, quarter number 3, fresh 12 minutes on the clock in an 18-12 game with the Chargers of Crest leading it. The much maligned kicker for Crest is one Nick Sanchez, and granted it wasn't all on his foot in the first half, but he had a tough going in that first half on special teams. Sanchez ready to try to turn that around here, put a good boot into this as we start quarter number 3. Cam Crawford, we'll see if Crawford actually gets the football this time. It'll go right into the hands of Crawford, who takes it and picks his way forward to about the 31-yard line. And that's where South Point will have it first to start quarter number 3, following that Gavin Smith interception, which took us right to the end of second quarter time, Armand. It would still be fair to say South Point has the momentum from late in the first half.
One thing to know, this triple option offense, it's not really designed to play as well from behind. Let's see how South Point game plans here in the second half. How much more committed to the passing game here in certain spots will they be in the final 24 minutes as opposed to the first 24?
1st and 10 from the 32. That's where drive 1 of the second half begins for South Point. Running play goes to Chance Ford, the senior fullback. So we get to see the big fullback get involved. 2-yard gain that time for Ford, 2nd and 8.
South Point has had success here in this game, running between the tackles, and they continue it here. The responsibility for Crest has not changed. Got to be disciplined defensively, especially those big guys up front.
That was Ford's 22nd carry of the season. He has 3 rushing touchdowns. Little pitch back, looking for room close to the 35, and then tossed out of bounds. Crawford with the carry. And then it was Devarius Surratt who had him right at the end. Surratt trying to get away from that late little push out of bounds. It will bring up 3rd down.
I mean, just a great job by Devarius Surratt that time of coming. He comes crashing downhill from his defensive back spot to make that nice play. Otho Carolina instant replay. You see him here. Watch him come crashing down. They try to block on the outside, but Surratt is there, and they converge for the tackle.
Under pressure is Blee, and he gets sacked by Grady Nodine, the junior linebacker. Got him. It's 4th down.
This play was an utter disaster for South Point. Otho Carolina instant replay. Nodine is in the backfield so quickly because he's unaccounted for. He comes on a blitz. Nobody picks him up, and he just destroyed that play. And that drive comes to a screeching halt. No promise there for the South Point Red Raiders.
Nodine, he's been on 2 of those tonight. Did not have a sack coming into this game. It was Mosley who led the team in sacks, but Nodine's been getting some pressure in there so far in this one. This is a bad punt, and so it's going to be plus field position here for Crest. I mean, you can't ask for a better start to this 3rd quarter. I know that's an adage that is kind of said a lot, but it's true. You get a sack, you get it to 4th down, and you get a bad punt. The ball is going to be at the 34-yard line here for Crest, Armand.
And Corey, I believe the quarterback, Patrick Blee, punted that ball, which is not his natural tendency. And that punt went off the side of his foot, and it did not travel far at all. Crest is inside the 35 here.
Yeah, that is bad right there to set up Crest. Keeping it. Running play for the quarterback with a blocker out ahead down around the 22-yard line for Turner McSwain, who, like you said in the first half, Armand, he's got no problem running the football.
I love Paxton Dobbins. Watch 58 on the Otho Carolina instant replay. They get pushed on the inside. They go pulling folks and just allow for space to be picked up on the outside. Also a good job there by Brock Melton. Is there anything better than wide receivers who are able to block on the perimeter, pick up guys on the outside, and help the backs pick up room down the field?
Yeah, what do they say? If you block well, you'll get more passes coming your way. After that gain of 12, handoff goes to Carson. And Carson lost the football. This is loose. I think, did Crest just recover this? Of course, South Point indicating that they haven't. Here's a look.
Otho Carolina instant replay. They pull with Dobbins and Wesson. It's good looking lead block in there, but South Point is able to get off the blocks, and then the ball squirts free, and Crest does fall on it. And Adam Hodge even talked about that, Corey, as you keep looking here. Adam Hodge even talked about the fact that we as a team, we just got to get off blocks, right? Yeah. We got to get off blocks. We cannot allow ourselves to be manhandled, and that time South Point broke free and almost forced a turnover.
I tell you, Nick Albright was the one that saved the moment right there for Crest. He leapt on that football. Give got tripped up in the backfield, and then nothing after that. The carry went to Anton Lewis. The tackle was made by Chance Ford. It's 3rd down.
First guy to make that play, though, was Gavin Gibson, number 51. Did a good job of just slowing the runner down, and then those red jerseys come swarming in. As you take a look at the Otho Carolina instant replay, trips him up. Then the partners come in to clean it up. Trip up, then a clean up.
that posts 3rd and 6. McSwain looking, pressure coming. McSwain tripped up, finally finished. He got tripped up by Peyton McCarn, and then South Point defensively finished him off from there, and it's 4th down for Crest.
So we talked in the first half about how quiet Mike Edwards has been. Otto Carolina instant replay. This play is for Edwards. He's looking there the whole way, but South Point has pressure coming from the backside. And once again, a great job there by the South Point defense. As you talked about, Peyton McCarn comes in there to trip him up, but he was looking for Mike Edwards, who had man coverage at the bottom of the screen. But Peyton McCarn and the South Point defense was having none of it.
Yeah, Chris Stowe is going to be on Michael Edwards here. Sure enough, Crest will go for it on 4th and 16. And that one's low, never had a chance to get to Edwards. And that's a turnover on downs. Not a very crisp looking play that time for McSwain and the Crest offense. They turn it over on downs.
Corey, we're in a fascinating position.
Yeah.
What do I mean? Both teams have zero confidence in their kicking games. Absolutely none.
Yeah.
Under ordinary circumstances, that's a field goal, right? A long field goal for the high school level, 40-some-odd yards. But that's a field goal. But in a game like this, where both teams have struggled in the kicking game, we're going to see a whole lot of craziness if that keeps up here in the second half.
I mean, Sanchez came in with barely anything on his stat sheet. Back now to the South Point play. This is Blee who keeps it. Doesn't really get anything there. 2nd down coming. So again, we go back and forth. But Sanchez had 1 PAT on the season, no field goal attempts or makes coming in. So Sanchez hasn't even really had practice at that so far this season. On the other side for South Point, Choa, who came in with 2 PATs, 2 attempts, no field goals attempted either. So it's untested special teams units. And like you said, Armand, neither team really going to that right now. Quick pitch here by Blee, and Crest is all over that. Crawford gets stopped by A.J. Davis, and it's 3rd down.
Surratt was in there too, I believe, and so was Lyric Pettis. And I tell you, we talked in the first half about not biting the bait. And that time, Crest stayed home defensively. They were exactly where they needed to be to bring that play to a halt. And quickly, it's 3rd down, South Point.
And the ball is deep in South Point territory right now. 3rd and 10 from the 27. Blee. That is almost picked, but it's pulled in on the catch by Graham Martin. How Martin didn't have that pick by Pettis, I'm not sure. Talk about threading the needle, but it's going to come up 2 yards short.
And now what does South Point do? Based on what we saw in that last punt, hard to imagine them doing anything else here.
Yeah.
At this point of the game, going for it is as good as a punt here. They're going to punt it, though, I guess, unless there's a fake. But it's been an adventure all night.
Dalton Skipper.
Who's not listed as a punter or a kicker on our sheet.
Skipper's got it. He catches it cleanly. Boots it to about the 46-yard line on the flip side of midfield. Well out of the reach of Surratt. Air National Guard here in North Carolina, they offer the opportunity for airmen to serve part-time, close to home, right here in North Carolina. You can learn more about the education benefits, humanitarian service opportunities, and available world-class training provided to members by visiting goang.com. 1st and 10 from the 46. Back and forth we go. Just over 5 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. Crest has the football. Handoff goes to Carson. Carson gets nothing. Ford and Gavin Gibson in there. 2nd down.
North Carolina instant replay. Really good job here. Filling up the gaps, filling up the holes, and then Chance Ford just stands him up and drives him to the ground.
got a player injured, Armand, here for South Point, and doesn't look too good
We have
either.
an official timeout.
He'll get checked on. It's really our first injury break of this game.
Kevin Murphy looks like the lineman.
Got Murphy, the junior, makes his way off largely on his own, although he's favoring.
Maybe his wrist, Corey?
Yeah, his wrist.
Left wrist?
On the left side, yep. He's kind of had it in that same position midway on the chest since coming off.
I'm just really fascinated at this point, though, Corey, by what the special teams unit has created for both teams here, because it affects everything. It affects your ability to score. It affects if you go for 2 or not. It affects field goals, and it affects field position. Everything is thrown out of whack now because you can't rely on your special teams unit for both teams.
Yeah, if you're going to go for it on 4th and 16, anything's possible. 2nd and 12. McSwain ultimately made something out of this play. He'll set up a 3rd down, kind of tiptoed his way through.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. Ty J. Borders was trying to get open across the middle of the field, but McSwain did not see him. He just had to eat that thing. Good job by a trio of South Point Red Raiders defenders to bring McSwain down. These 3rd downs are coming faster and faster, aren't they?
Every time you look up, it's a 3rd down or a 4th down for someone. Mark it at the 47 on the Crest side. McSwain hits Edwards. Edwards gets past the defender. Edwards has blockers. Now on the left side, Edwards still going. 1st down and more. Lost his helmet in the process. That is a big chunk play for the top receiver on the season for Crest. That's Edwards.
8 yards for a Crest, 1st down.
One thing I want you to see, watch Turner McSwain on the Ortho Carolina instant replay. Watch the quarterback, number 3. Watch him lay the block that's going to help pick up this 1st down. Bam, right there, clearing the alley, clearing the way for Edwards to pick up that 1st down. I love the physicality of Turner McSwain. This guy approaches football like a bulldog.
Ball now marked to the 36-yard line after the pickup by Edwards. Here is the Carson effort, 2nd down coming.
On the tackle.
That is a 17-yard pickup for Edwards, 2nd to last play.
They pulled Dobbins and Wesson. They've been doing it all night. And my goodness, I tell you, I just love the way Paxton Dobbins gets in there. He keeps those hands up and he pushes, and you're not going to be more physical than him at the point of attack.
2nd down here for Crest.
Official timeout here.
Now they'll place it at the 28-yard line.
Can I show you the way Dobbins blocks, though?
Yeah.
You folks can't see us in the press box here, but he just takes his hands. He's just pushing, and he's bigger than you, and he's stronger than you, and he's driving you with his hands into your chest, and you just can't fight through him.
What was that? Who gave us the great offensive line tutorial last season?
That was Mooresville, I believe it was.
Yeah, you have the better memory on those kind of things. Remember that? That was what you just did here in the press box was exactly what was going on last year during the Zoom. It was a full, what do they call it, a master class.
That's what they call it.
Yeah, offensive line play. 2nd and 3 here for Crest. Give, goes to Ruff. Ruff doesn't get much. Crawford on pursuit.
South Point, not the most physical, but they are fast. Ortho Carolina instant replay. Good job as Crawford comes crashing downhill. And a sure way to make a tackle is to cut the legs off of the runner. Crawford did a good job that time. Looks like Crawford is hurt here.
Yeah, Crawford is. He I wasn't sure if he was making that move to kind of highlight his stop on Ruff or if he actually was hurt. He kind of came up dragging one or both feet, and now ultimately he will be assisted. 2 arms around the shoulders of the coaching staff for South Point, and he's going to come off to the sideline.
Yeah, he was not putting any weight. And he's finally down now. Oh, my goodness. He was not putting any weight on either foot as he was coming off the field towards the sideline.
Cam Crawford, tough one to miss for the moment with 13 total tackles coming in. One of the best defenders for South Point. 3rd and 2. The push comes up short. It will be 4th down.
The officials have already given the 4th down signal. Sometimes you just got to win. You just got to fight. You just got to battle and scrap and hope that you can hold. I don't even think you got a yard there. It's still 4th and 2.
Yeah, that was Kentrell Degree, Armand. He's listed as a defensive lineman, but more importantly than that, 6'2", 280. But he gets nothing. It's 4th and 2 for Crest here at the 27-yard line. And we've got movement here for South Point, and that might give Crest a 1st down. Luke Weslowski looked like he jumped early. Here's another look.
Yep. The official gives the offside signal. Watch the hard count. And across he comes. And that's a 5-yard penalty. It's going to give Crest a 1st down.
Crest 1st and 10.
They'll move the ball now to the 22-yard line. So there is a way to pick up a 4th down in this game. It's old-fashioned.
Get a penalty, baby.
Do whatever you got to do. Toss goes to Ruff. Ruff working his way through. Ruff is still up. He broke every tackle imaginable for a 27-yard pitch and score. And this is a 24-12 Crest lead over South Point.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. Crest is so good at blocking on the perimeter. Look at how they pulled Kentrell Degree. Bam, gets the block right there. Bam, another block right there. And then it's breaking tackles. Oh, South Point, they're going to look back at the film later this week and say, we missed 2 tackles on that touchdown. But Crest doesn't care. They've got 6 points, and they've extended the lead here after the score.
Yeah, that's big. Someone was bound to score eventually. Football ping-ponging around from side to side. 24-12, and Crest will go for 2. We're just not playing any special teams tonight. McSwain rolling, long roll. McSwain, oh my gosh, it bounced around off a couple of South Point players and into the hands of Lyric Pettis. That is a 2-point conversion that had a lot of traffic stops in between.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. Sometimes you need a lucky bounce. They run him on the bootleg. He's a threat to run, and the ball is deflected at the goal line, and Pettis is right there to look it in. That ball was tipped and deflected by Gavin Gibson, number 51. And great concentration. That's a marvelous play there by Lyric Pettis.
October 15th, 6:30 p.m. Park Street, United Methodist Church.
That is wild how that happened. 26-12.
Softball star Darryl McClure. And football and baseball star Duck
Ortho
Davis.
Carolina, they have urgent care options that focus on orthopedic injuries such as sprains, fractures, sprains, dislocations as well. You can count on Ortho Carolina to be the more efficient, reliable, and the better choice when it comes to your care needs.
Is this the most fun we've had here doing these games? This is fun.
This one's interesting, and it's unpredictable. And we finally have a game, Armand, to where we're just not kicking field goals or extra points. That's what's made it exciting, because this is almost like arena football right now. Fielded at the 24. He step out of bounds, the return man, yes. So that'll hold some of this yardage back for Chris Stowe.
Chris Stowe on the return steps out of bounds.
Let's see how close he was here.
32-yard line.
Audience obviously disappointed. Ortho Carolina instant replay. How close was he? 24-yard line, and then zip. Yep, just out of bounds right there. And it's a 1st down for South Point at the 32.
Tight end covered, tight end covered.
1:44 to go here in the 3rd. Red Raiders trailing by exactly 2 touchdowns, 14. And off.
Forcing on the carry.
Goes to Forston, Eric Forston, the senior fullback. Gains a couple, second down.
Bring up
As we
second
are
and
under 90 seconds left here in the third quarter.
South Point talked about being efficient offensively, and Adam Hodge is trying so hard to simplify this offense and keep things pretty cut and dry. But trailing by 2 scores here, at some point you have to open things up a little bit. Let's see how much more sophisticated they get offensively here in this final quarter and change.
2nd and 8 from 32 for South Point.
Crawford on the carry.
Third down coming.
The other thing that starts to happen is your offense starts feeling the pressure, especially when Crest is getting scores and getting stops. You don't want your offense to start pressing when those kinds of things happen, because they understand that they're not just competing against Crest, but they're also playing against the clock.
Already almost a half minute left here in quarter 3. 3rd and 4. That last play by Brody Crawford got 4 yards. Handoff, now some room. That's a first down and more. And another carry by Eric Forston. Mark this past the 45-yard line. They'll place it down 47. There's only 10 seconds left here in the third. Back to the 48-yard line. They're 48 for South Point. They've got 4 seconds left. Will the Red Raiders snap this right before the end of the third? They will, and it's a keep for Blee, and Blee might have another first down right at the end of the third quarter, and he does. He gets close to the 40, almost scratching his way there. And that finishes the third quarter, so it will be a first down on the other side for South Point once we get to quarter number 4. It's 26-12, Crest over South Point. Fourth quarter next here on the NFHS Network.
The first question out of a kid's mouth is, when can I get back to doing what I want to do?
So in 2019, I was in class and I was doing a jump that I've been doing since I was maybe 6 years old. And my foot went one knee, my knee went the other, and my knee dislocated. It amazes me how I went through what I went through and I was still able to continue my dreams.
You can learn more about the education benefits, humanitarian service opportunities available, and world-class training provided to members.
Expertise is all around you, from urgent care to your full recovery. Ortho Carolina, they're there every step of the way. Ortho Carolina, your better choice for musculoskeletal care. Ortho Carolina has urgent care options that focus on orthopedic injuries such as sprains, fractures, strains, dislocations as well. You can count on Ortho Carolina to be the more efficient, reliable, and the simply better choice when it comes to your care needs. Quarter number 4, Corey Hodges, Armand Brody, and our entire team back here with you. Charlotte High School Football Rivalry Series powered by Ortho Carolina. Chapter 2 of our 2024 season after about a month off. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. We now go left to right for South Point, and it's Blee who picked up a first down right before the end of the third quarter. Gets again for about half the down in distance. Second down coming up, and you've got to score now if you're South Point, trailing by 14, AB.
Yep, it's definitely pressure time here for South Point. They've been faithful to this option, and Crest, for the most part here in the second half, has settled into this game a bit defensively. The question now is, does South Point have a big play in them here to get their offense going a bit and give them some added momentum?
Biggest play of the game so far, outside of the Gavin Smith kickoff return, was that Peyton McCarn touchdown. Little toss here from Blee to Brody Crawford.
South Point really has to stay out of these. Really have to stay out of these third down situations at this point. They really do. They've got to, as we talked about even back in the first half, they've got to stay one down ahead. Ortho Carolina instant replay. Good job by Crest out on the perimeter there with the tackle being made by Tank Ruff.
Mark this at the 36-yard line. Third down. Fourth down on the way following the Forston carry. And it's short though, 4th and 1.
A.J. Davis, Kendall Green.
North Carolina instant replay. You have to wonder at what point, like, what does South Point have that we have not yet seen tonight? Adam Hodge even talked about that when we spoke with him about how both teams have not shown everything to this point. What does South Point have that Crest has not seen here tonight? That's the question. It may be the time to pull it out right now on 4th down.
4th and 1 from the 32. Again, it's Forston who has enough for the first down.
It looks good enough for South Point.
On the other hand,
just give it back to 34.
Just give it back to 34. Let him pound his way. They love running with these fullbacks, man, I tell you. These fullbacks are active, and Eric Forston is at the top of the list.
Yeah, Adam Hodge talked about Brody Crawford, Eric Forston as well. Some good speed with those players. And, of course, loves Patrick Blee as well. Good kid, super intelligent, makes good grades, behaves himself. And Adam Hodge loves Blee. And Patrick Blee keeps it, works his way through. One of the better runs tonight for Patrick Blee. Close to the 15-yard line. And that is a South Point first down.
North Carolina instant replay. This is smash mouth football. Great job by Garrett Tidd, 24. Eric Forston gets in there, 34. Just great blocking, tattooing defenders up the middle of that defense. Got an injured South Point Red Raider here. I think that's Reed Jeffries there, number 60, who's struggling a bit.
Yeah. He's kind of clutching down there towards that left knee. Jeffries is going to come out. So Crawford went out with an injury. Now Jeffries, in comes Walker Spargo. Here's another look at the injury.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Trying to spot Jeffries. There's just so many bodies in there. A lot of congestion, and that's how injuries happen a lot of times.
1st and 10 from the 16. Blee finds a target, and that is a touchdown. Garrett Tidd. Tidd from Blee for 6, and this for the moment is an 8-point game.
And he's a little banged up too. My goodness, it's a war of attrition at this point. But we asked the question, at what point was South Point going to open things up? North Carolina instant replay, they leak him out of the backfield, and Crest, they're so used to the run that they're stuck in the backfield there, and the same thing happened in the first half and led to a score there. South Point gets another score that way.
Brody Crawford on to kick the extra point. We will have an extra point in this second half, and it is 26-19. This is now an even touchdown lead for Crest. It's been trimmed to 7 points on Tidd's second receiving score of 2024 from Patrick Blee.
Explain this game to me.
Yeah.
Explain it. But you know, we talked about it. At some point, South Point, and maybe that's what they were offering up all these body blows, body blow after body blow with the run game, pounding it up the middle. And what happens? Crest gets used to it. Their linebackers and their defensive backs come crashing down, and that's how you get a wide open receiver. They scored the same way in the first half. South Point setting Crest up with the run game, which has had a lot of success here tonight, to open up the passing game for those touchdowns that we've seen here tonight.
No, you're all over it, Armand, because you talked about it. McCarn had that one on the rollout by Blee back in the first half, and then that time Tidd, same thing. And it all is set up by that run game that really both of these teams are biting on, especially so Crest that time. So now back to another adventure here on this kickoff. Booted away by Weslowski. Fielded at the 25. It's a fair catch by Hampton Boykins. Okay, the Chargers with less than 9 minutes left, leading this one 26-19, and we haven't seen a turnover except for a turnover on downs in a while. And here come the Chargers from their 25-yard line with Turner McSwain and Michael Edwards and company.
And do not forget that Turner McSwain is a threat to run the football. I just love watching him play, man. He's been one of the most exciting players we've had in our now third year of doing this.
5'10", 160, little touch pass here goes to Borders. Borders finds the border with Chris Stowe defensively, second down. There was really no room for Borders.
Brody Crawford did a great job on that first down play of staying and playing his assignment. That's how you slow down that play on the perimeter. Just great defense, team defensive effort that time by Southbourne. You have got to be so disciplined when you're playing a team like Crest, who loves to run the counters. They love to run the traps. They love to run the misdirection stuff. You've got to be so disciplined on the outside.
That was a loss of 5, so back it up now to the 20-yard line for the Chargers. McSwain, now he takes off. McSwain flips it to Hampton Boykins. Boykins gets ridden down at about the 34-yard line by Lucas Conger. Third down.
Boykins was wide open for a second. He was trying to get the attention of his quarterback, and finally McSwain came back to him, found him, and it sets up a really nice and manageable third down here for Crest. Boy, this is a big, big play in this ball game, Corey. With 7.5 minutes left here, and you feel like some things could shift and change here. South Point gets the score. Now they have an opportunity to get a stop.
That was a gain of 13 to Boykins, and Crest will call a timeout. It's their first here in the second half before 3rd and 2. You said it. Now, of course, this will pose the interesting question that we always like to ponder. It changes game to game, this question, but in this case, if it's still 4th down, then you go for it again, because now you're leading by just a touchdown. It's no longer a 2+ score game.
Right.
So it's not like you can just say, well, just go ahead and go for it on 4th and 16. We're up by 2 scores. This is a 7-point game now. If Crest doesn't pick up the first down and it goes to 4th down on this next play, that's a decision to ponder.
I'm a little surprised that we have not heard more from Mike Edwards. Obviously, he was a guy that if you're South Point, you're targeting because you know how dangerous he can be. But he was a guy coming into this ball game I thought could have some success here tonight. Adam Hodge was concerned about this secondary. He was concerned that Chris might be able to hit him up on some big plays. Right. Hasn't really happened yet with Mike Edwards here in this game to this point. He's an outside threat. He's a deep threat. Let's see if they go to him on 3rd down or if they go somewhere else.
3rd and 2 from the 33. McSwain fires it to Edwards, who has a first down past the 40-yard line. You talk him up, and McSwain dials him up.
The key to that play is he knows, the quarterback McSwain knows Edwards has man coverage. You need just a few yards. He had great outside leverage there, gets good positioning on that route, and the ball is placed well by McSwain for that first down.
Pick up a 9. They'll mark it at the 42. Only needed 2 yards for a first down. Edwards got 7, better than that.
Got a timeout here.
Watching the clock as well.
Referee wants the clock, I think, to keep running a bit. Now they'll stop it at 7:05.
This brings up, talking about referees, Armand, there's been some talk last couple weeks, especially really last couple months, about the shortage of really experienced referees in North Carolina High School Athletic Association football. So there's a lot of talk right now about how to get more officials into the game. Bit of a ref shortage here recently, so something to ponder outside of this game tonight. Keeping it is McSwain. Make sure to hold on to the football, a couple yards shy of midfield, as it will be 2nd down. But that's just kind of that secondary issue. It doesn't really have anything to do with the game tonight, but seeing those officials out there, everyone forgets. Everyone likes to criticize officials. I don't think that a lot of people like to give them credit, especially the experienced ones. They're asking for more pay. They're asking to be valued for their experience. Consequently, there's a ref shortage right now in this state in high school football, and that's becoming not a problem, but it's something to kind of monitor as we continue to play football this year and beyond.
You said it.
Yeah. Handoff goes to Carson. He's been busy tonight. Carson gets about 2 yards out of it. No room to his right. 3rd down.
North Carolina instant replay. Once again, they try to pull with Wesson.
Here we go, third down.
Tries to pick him up, and just a really good job there. Man, that's a great effort by Dalton Skipper of fighting through that block. That's how you make big plays. Sometimes you just got to fight through it and have your will resist the oncoming offensive lineman to try to make the play.
This third down is 2 yards longer than the one earlier that was picked up by Edwards. This is 3rd and 4, 1 yard shy of midfield at their 49 for Crest with 5:25 to go, leading by 7. Give it back to Carson.
Carson, stop short.
He's just short. Here's your 4th down.
Well. Do they keep it simple here and try and quarterback sneak this thing? Do they throw some razzle-dazzle at South Point here? South Point running guys on the field. Could be an opportunity for Crest here.
Eddie Brock had to hustle his way on. 4th and 1. McSwain turns around, gives it again to Carson, who needs a yard, and he got it as he plunges forward.
I thought they were going to try and do something with a hard count again. They got a first down that way earlier here in the second half. But nope, you just get pushed. You're more physical than the man in front of you, and you pick up a first down, which allows for more time to run off the clock. And within the next about minute and a half or so here, if you're South Point, you got to start thinking about calling some timeouts.
Adam Hodge said to us earlier in the week, Crest, they might take some deep shots, but they also run those out, stop, some post, can't get caught on a hitch and go, can't overplay things. Try to keep everyone in front of you here if you're South Point trailing by a touchdown. 1st and 10 from the South Point 47. But we have a timeout.
Crest takes timeout.
Now, both teams had a full allotment. Crest is down to their final timeout now. 4:12 to go. Some would wonder why you take a timeout here with just over 4 minutes left, leading by a touchdown, and you're moving the ball pretty well. But then again, you can't have a big mistake right now to back yourself up. So that's why Greg Lloyd wanted to call that timeout.
Yeah, and it could be a thing of there's a specific play that we want to run in this moment. They're in a really good spot, middle of the field. That could play a part as well, trying to deliver the knockout blow to South Point.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yep.
This is a big stretch here. Crest really has an opportunity to create the distance they need to pull this ball game off. South Point once again having some trouble getting players off the field.
Sure are. Everyone finally does get set. 1st and 10 from the 47 of South Point. Who else but Carson, who gets tripped up. South Point starting to find him now. Peyton McCarn in there to stop Carson. That's a loss of about 1. 2nd and 11 coming up.
North Carolina instant replay. Great job by McCarn there shooting the gap, making that tackle for the loss. Down inside 4 minutes here.
Second and 11. McSwain, now he looks deep. McSwain, Edwards, it got tipped and it almost came back down into his hands. Edwards, though, covered efficiently by Chris Stowe, and it's 3rd down.
This is a one-man route, Corey. North Carolina instant replay. Good protection. The problem is, first of all, the coverage by Stowe is on the money. But the pass was a bit underthrown and gave Stowe the opportunity to close on that play. But Stowe made a great play of elevating there and staying right with the receiver, Mike Edwards, who is their deep target, and forced the break up.
3rd and 11 from the 48-yard line of South Point for Crest. 3:25 to go. Whistles stopped this play as soon as it was snapped to McSwain, and a timeout called by South Point. Crest calls that timeout rather. That's their final of the game.
This is a huge, huge play. The key, though, it looks like they want Edwards. If they get Edwards in man coverage, they like those matchups on the outside. I've noticed that they've thrown this ball to Edwards in specific moments when they felt like they've had matchups that they've liked, and specifically man coverage matchups.
Third and long, 3rd and 11. Saw McSwain try to go deep to Edwards, something that Adam Hodge knew Crest would try to do. So now in 3rd and long, 3rd and 11, will Crest air it out again? They're in formation to do that. They'll go 5 wide. On 3rd and 11, McSwain, he'll cut it back. McSwain can run. He's got a block. Now McSwain fires it. It's incomplete. Not intercepted, but knocked out of the air by Garrett Tidd, who caught a touchdown in the 3rd quarter.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. This is not a good decision by McSwain. South Point plays a zone this time. McSwain gets greedy, and he almost paid dearly for it. Throwing this ball into all kinds of traffic, and South Point knocks it down.
4th down.
Do you dare punt the ball here with all of the excitement we've seen? I guess there's really no other decision to make.
Edwards will punt it. Well, good to see Cam Crawford. He's back out. It's going to bounce, not towards Crawford. It'll settle at the 19-yard line on the punt by Edwards. And now trailing by 7 in a 26-19 game with 3:05 to go. South Point will have the football. They need a touchdown and an extra point to tie it, and that's the situation.
And something to keep in mind, because it's going to affect South Point's play calling. South Point has all 3 of its timeouts here, and clearly we know they're going to want to run the football.
Yeah.
I don't expect that to change here, and of course, as I say that, they open it up with 3 receivers wide.
1st and 10 from the 19. Oh no, Blee held on to it for too long. Then Blee trying to get out of that tackle. It looked like Blee was dead to rights by Grady Nodine. And then I don't think anyone heard the whistle, so Blee kept on running, but Nodine just completely enveloped the South Point quarterback.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. Patrick Blee cannot take this sack. He's got to throw that ball away. Oh man, that's a heartbreaker for South Point. And even though he tried to break free, the officials had already marked the play dead. That's not a play you can afford to take in this situation. You're inside of 3 minutes trying to tie or win this ball game.
Now it's 2nd and 20. Blee, that is incomplete. Looking for Cam Crawford. Crawford is even holding at the back of his legs. Crawford's not 100% at all. 3rd and 20 coming up.
No, he's not. Looks like a cramping issue there.
Yep.
They bring Brody Crawford in. Cam Crawford goes out. Brody Crawford comes in, and this is just not the situation that you want to be in for South Point. They don't usually dial up plays for 3rd down and 20. Typically, Corey.
Not for a team like South Point that runs the football so much. 3rd and 20 from the 9.
For Crest to play coverage here.
Blee under pressure. Somehow it's caught. It happened again for South Point as it goes off of multiple hands, finds its way down into the paws of Chris Stone. They did it again.
You gotta be kidding me. I think he's short of the 1st down. The Ortho Carolina instant replay. Blee is scrambling for his life. I need a prayer answered. They get it. Now the question is, are they going to measure this, or are they going to be content with the spot? The ball's at the 28-yard line. He's about a yard short. The crowd does not like the spot. It's still going to be 4th down and 1 for South Point. If we could get another replay of that, that would be great, because I want to see where the spot was. The catch is made. Ortho Carolina instant replay. The catch is made there, but he does have to come back a bit. And Crest does a good job of bringing him back and not allowing him to get forward momentum. I would say that spot is decent, maybe another half yard or so. Might have been a better spot for that football, but it is a 4th down and a strong one. And it's almost close to 1.5.
Yeah, game of inches, as they always say, Armand. On that replay, I'm like you. I saw that catch made by Stowe. He was at the 29.
He was pretty close to it.
But then he got pushed back. So again, here we are. Instead of it being a 1st down, it's 4th and 1. 2:07 to go from the 28. South Point has to pick up a 1st down. They do! And it's Blee who got through everyone. Blee is the grader to the Crest cheese, and it's a touchdown, and it's a 72-yard run for Patrick Blee, and South Point is a point away from tying this football game.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. We got to come to South Point more often. He bounces off right tackle side, and they just clear that alley. Physicality and toughness up front by this South Point offensive line, and Blee can just barely outrace Tank Ruff to the end zone for the touchdown. The question now is, are they going for 2?
Exactly. 26-25 with 1:56 left. What is the decision?
Lee is still out there. They do have a timeout. They're going to call it.
You need an extra point to tie this game, but with all of the special teams problems tonight, in a lot of other situations, AB, this is a no-brainer. Kick the extra point, tie this football game. Not tonight, as if this game could accommodate another wrinkle. That's it. There's a debate about, do we go for 2 or kick an extra point? If you don't get the 2-point conversion, you're a point down. You've got to play defense.
I mean, let's face it.
What a decision.
If you don't get the 2-point conversion here, you only have 1 timeout left.
Yeah.
There's 1:56 left in this ball game. This is an extremely difficult decision because, once again, and we talked about this, Corey, at halftime.
Yeah.
The first half, special teams disasters. Think about how special teams has changed this game and has forced these coaches to make decisions that they would not ordinarily have to make.
Exactly.
You can't even rely on a kick. We saw Patrick Blee at one point attempt an extra point.
26-25. Get a 2-point conversion, you've got the lead. What will South Point do? They come out in the formation to go for 2. Blee with Forced in the back. Brody Crawford goes out wide at the top. Blee keeps himself. Blee falls through, and he gets the 2-point conversion. Blee for the touchdown to get South Point to within a point, and then the 2-point conversion to put the Red Raiders ahead 27-26.
Ortho Carolina instant replay. Patrick Blee is so smart. He knows the middle is clogged up. He can't run through the A-gap, so he bounces right guard, right tackle side to get that score. Patrick Blee has given his all here in this game, and this guy, without a doubt, is your Ortho Carolina player of the game. Now, here's the thing. Patrick Blee's your player of the game, but there's still a lot of time left for Crest to score in this ball game. But Patrick Blee's heart and his intelligence to take that ball and not try to run straight up the middle, to bounce it off the right side where he knew that he had some room. Such an intelligent player. And don't forget, it was 26-12. Yeah. Crest had all the momentum. South Point has scored the last 15 points of this game, and they've taken the lead with less than 2 minutes left.
Blee's big run of 72 yards got South Point to within a point, and then Blee kept for the 2-point conversion. This kid that South Point just loves. He's so smart. He just does all the right things on and off the field. fielded at the 26, and now a little lateral here, trying to go pitch, woo-woo, and this ball's loose, and I think that South Point recovered on the improvisation by Hampton Boykins. It's Red Raiders football as Crest tried to go hook and ladder, and it's a disaster.
Takes over about the 28-yard line.
Oh my gosh.
Otho Carolina instant replay. Why in the world would you do this? You cannot even attempt to try something like this. That's just not a smart football play. There's too much on the line. And the ball game is over because you don't have any timeouts left. South Point can take a knee and end the game. What a disaster for Crest.
Fittingly, the man that wins the night, Patrick Blee, takes the knee. And South Point, in one of the more miraculous games you'll see in any high school football season, they're going to be 4-0.
Player of the game once again is South Point quarterback Patrick Blee. Here's the big play. The blocking is great. Hat on a hat, and he just outraces Tank Ruff about 5 more yards, and he would have gotten caught. But he had just enough space to get into the end zone. I can't believe that decision though by Crest. Oh, I'm heartbroken for Hampton Boykins there. I'm just heartbroken for him. I can't believe they made that play, or they're trying to make that play.
Lee will take another knee. We're under a minute to go, and it's time to celebrate for this homecoming crowd here in Belmont. We said it. It's one of the more fantastic wins by a team that really looked like they were down and out. They put together something in the last part of the third and most of the fourth, and really it was the one they talk about so much around here, Patrick Blee. All of the decisions are on his shoulder. This crowd is going to celebrate here in Belmont a sea of red and white. Their Red Raiders are 4-0. And what's so fantastic about it is that for Blee, who has so much responsibility to determine where he's going to go with the football, the best decision he made all night was to keep it and run.
What did Adam Hodge say about Patrick Blee?
Yeah.
Says he's a great leader. Remember, he was talking about his leadership qualities, was talking about the kind of young man he is, the kind of character he possesses. And I tell you, all of those leadership qualities, he put them on display here. He put this team on his back with all the mistakes, with all the miscues, the woeful special teams that we saw tonight. Patrick Blee said, "Get on me. I'm going to ride you guys to glory." And they're going to end up with a 4-0 record here and give Crest its first loss of the season.
Wow. One more knee for Blee. Blee takes the knee, and South Point full of glee. They're 4-0, 27-26, the final from Belmont tonight.
And that will conclude your ball game.
Well, Corey, this is our third year together. We did not have a one-score game before tonight.
Right.
Not just one score, 1 point. I guess you could say this game was unbelievable. Take a look at some of the Otho Carolina instant replays. This was a big play earlier in the game. South Point getting the touchdown there to Peyton McCarn back in the first half. Crest had their big plays as well. There's a toss and a touchdown for Aiden Carson. Carson had 2 touchdowns on the night. More replays here as we continue rolling along. You see the quarterback looking up for another touchdown. That score to Brock Melton. Crest would go on and have a 14-point lead. Special teams, a big part of this game's story all night long. This is the 84-yard kickoff return. The most electrifying play of the game, the return by Gavin Smith, the junior wide receiver. Took that one 84 yards. Just a remarkable game here. That set this homecoming crowd on fire. saw more from both these teams as the Ortho Carolina highlights continue. You see under center the quarterback, Turner McSwain, who had a great night himself. Off to Tank Ruff, who had a great night on offense and defense, shedding tacklers and getting into the end zone for the touchdown there. We move on. A pass play here and a wide open man. Touchdown there for Garrett Tidd on the pass from the great quarterback Patrick Lee, who had just an amazing night carrying this team. And here's the biggie. Off the right side, all the way down the field for the touchdown.
Lee, that 72-yard run, then he would get the 2-point conversion, and ultimately 27-26 the final. If you enjoyed our broadcast tonight, you don't even have to wait a week. It's less than a week. October the 10th next Thursday night, we're going to Providence Day. They host Charlotte Christian in the third game of the Charlotte High School Football Rivalry Series, powered by Ortho Carolina. That is our next broadcast. We will have some Thursday night high school football. It's a big team that puts these broadcasts together. We want to thank everyone. Malik Cooper in the truck keeping us tuned in tonight. Back at TPG, Jordana Ginsburg and Jeremy Ricekind helping us out. Corey Steinecker, Jay Bell in the truck. Everyone is part of his crew. Armand Brody, I'm Cordy Hodges. We'll say goodnight on this Friday, 27-26. South Point wins it over Crest, and we will be with you next Thursday for Week 3 of the Charlotte High School Football Rivalry Series, powered by Ortho Carolina. Good night from Western North Carolina.